First, new footage has been released containing the Secret Service response to the assassination attempt on Donald Trump. Standing on the now notoriously sloped roof, a Secret Service agent is heard saying, "So, this is the guy," in relation to the body of Thomas Matthew Crooks, indicating that they were aware of an attempt on the former president's life before it happened. Now, the agent adds, in reference to the people filming below, and I quote, "Maybe they were involved, maybe they weren't. The guys that saw them said they were filming us, then they were filming the guy on the roof, then filming us." I mean, no kidding. Members of the public were recording the whole sorry failure on their phones while the Secret Service remained oblivious. Now, considering the US is in free fall politically, it is my great pleasure to welcome Spectator columnist Freddie Gray onto the show. Freddie, welcome to Spectator TV.
Great to be with you, Alexandra.
Well, Freddie, just quickly, we've had some breaking news, no doubt while you were asleep, that the US Secret Service Director, Kimberly Cheadle, has resigned. It took her a week, but she's finally admitted that the attack on Donald Trump was a failure on behalf of the Secret Service following a myriad of embarrassing scenes, including her own notorious sloped roof comments. Now, is her resignation a step in the right direction to repair the reputation of the Secret Service?
I think Kimberly Cheadle has to go. I think that's clear. I think that I tend towards cock up more than conspiracy in most of my approach to life. I think what actually happened, and I'll give the Secret Service a very bad devil's advocate defense. Donald Trump does a lot of rallies. They've had to cover him a lot over the last 8 years. I think that they got slack, obviously. They have appalling DEI diversity hiring schemes. They want 30% of women, and I think there is a case that's affected the meritocracy of the Secret Service, and I think that's pretty poor. I think also it was very bad timing. Kimberly Cheadle herself was in Milwaukee for the Republican National Convention. They were obviously preparing for that, which is a huge operation, and therefore they took their eye off the ball very, very disastrously and nearly, fatally in the case of Corey Knepp-Trioni, but nearly fatally for President Donald Trump.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's no escaping the fact that there were people on the ground pointing at a shooter, and awful footage of the Secret Service apparently just not taking that seriously, and somebody had to resign over that. That was not a good look for the Secret Service. But let's talk about Joe Biden for a moment. It seems as if the Democrats are doing everything possible to shove him out of the media, to hide him in the proverbial basement and keep him out of the way while Kamala Harris takes charge. You've written in The Spectator that Biden's legacy is a failure. When this chapter of history closes, Freddie, what will Biden be remembered for?
I think it's ridiculous to hear Democrats talking about Joe Biden at the moment. I mean, first, we need some sort of proof of life of Joe Biden, that he's actually all right. He seems to be in serious decline. But I think that this idea that he is one of the most high-achieving presidents in American history, which is what Kamala Harris and other people have been saying, is preposterous. He has not been okay since well before the 2020 election. I met him very briefly in February 2020, and I'm no great keen observer of mental health, but I could tell then that he was not with it. He wasn't all there, and he's only gotten worse. And the Democrats have managed to essentially cover up this obvious fact for a very long time and delude themselves that Joe Biden is okay because they were so desperate to beat Donald Trump. But his first term must go down as a failure. I think, people talk about the American economy, and yes, it's showing great signs of strength. But what Joe Biden did was essentially spend trillions and trillions of dollars. And that has caused a huge spike in the cost of living for Americans. And that's why most Americans feel today that they are worse off now than they were under Donald Trump. And that is why Donald Trump is ahead in polls in the swing states.
Well,
and then internationally, I think Joe Biden has also been disastrous. The war in Ukraine, yes, he has provided a lot of support to Ukraine, billions and billions of dollars, but he's done this in a very sort of odd, incremental way, which has not been very effective. And I don't think anybody could argue that the Ukraine war is anywhere near won. I don't think Russia has emerged weaker from it. In fact, Russia is doing pretty well. I think that's been a failure. And if you look at the Middle East is now in turmoil. And if you look at the sort of general global world order, the threat of China and so on, he hasn't combated that. It's been failure after failure after failure. He should go down, I think, as one of the worst presidents in US history. And we're just going to have to hear a lot to the contrary in the next few weeks.
He certainly laid the groundwork for unease and a power shift in the global order. I mean, his mistakes to do with Iran are pretty significant. And the way that he went about dealing with Russia's behaviour has allowed Russia to shift its reliance toward China and for China to expand its influence on the world.